It is an opportunity for Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. Double team. Dinwiddie, buzzer beater! Spencer Dinwiddie has done it again! This dude has got a home with the Dallas Mavericks!
Just about 8, almost 9 months on the job. What do you think?
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Still, I feel like there's lots to learn, but I feel like I've learned a lot.
The news that Rick Carlisle has stepped down comes just 24 hours after general manager Donnie Nelson parted ways with the team.
This was a little bit of a hornet's nest. The expose, Rick and Donnie both leave. It was a little bit of an unsettled situation right as you first walk in the door. What was that like to come into?
Honestly, I was oblivious to all of it. I was in my own little cocoon, and I really, until I got the job, that's when I realized what hornet's nest I was walking into. So I really didn't know anything about it. I just knew, the Mavericks from afar. I didn't know them that intimately, so I didn't know all the stories.
So when you do now have that realization once you're here, now it kind of becomes incumbent upon you, obviously Mark as well, to, all right, let's kind of circle the wagons here and reel it back in. How did you guys go about that?
Well, I think, leadership is everything. And I think whenever there's a little bit of disarray, that's when leadership is, you have to have it. That's when it's most important.
2 decades at Nike, you rose through the ranks pretty quickly. When everybody talked about you making this change from that world into being an NBA executive, relationships was the central tenet of why people thought you'd be good at this job.
Right.
What do relationships mean to you?
I think it's just about being authentic to people. I think it's always being yourself, treating people with respect, especially treating them with respect when you have leverage, because there's always going to be times, whether you're in a negotiation, you have leverage. How do you treat people? Always, when people have leverage, how do they treat me? That's, to me, shows a sign of their character. And I think just, at the end of the day, being a good person doesn't mean you don't have tough conversations. It doesn't mean that you don't do what's right for your company. But at the end of the day, making sure that people walk away feeling like they were respected.
When did you know it was time to move on from Kristaps Porzingis?
Good question. The trade at the end of the day was really about the Mavericks and what makes them, how can we make us better? And it was less about Kristaps. Like, a lot of people say, oh, well, he's injured a lot, and he was, but he's still a talented player. I think the other day he played for the first time and he had like 25 points. Like, he's a good player. He's going to have good games. He would have had good games here. He's going to have good games wherever. I think we had opportunity really in Davis and Spencer to make our roster better. And that was really ultimately the decision.
I've seen you say Luka Doncic is going to win championships. It's your job to make sure it happens here in Dallas with this team. What's the next step in that process? Obviously, this trade was one step in the evolution of this roster. What comes next?
I think we just continue to get the roster, how do we get the roster better? How do we get players that fit around Luka? And I don't think there's like a magic bullet. I don't think there's one player that does it. I just think you continue to work it until you get that right combination.
We talked about your relationships with players around the league, big name players around the league. I know you can't go into any specifics. I'm not trying to get you in trouble here with tampering or anything along those lines, but how instrumental can that be in that process come July?
Listen, I think Dallas is going to get a seat at the table for free agents if they want. I'm not sure if Dallas had previously had a seat at the table, but I think, and it's not just about me either. If you look at Jason Kidd, if you look at Mark Cuban, between the collective group, we'll get a seat at the table for sure.